All right, welcome to Changing the Narrative. I'm your boy Todd Simon, and this is...
It's your cousin Cody Preston.
Man, let's go.
Let's do it.
And today, we got our business partner, our brother, Columbia native, a husband, a father, graduate of Keenan High School.
Keenan High School gets and
just a professional in the real estate industry, from commercial, insurance, and everything that is related to money and health and insurance. This man is just an expert in that. So if you don't know who we're talking about, and if you don't recognize this man, we talking about none other than Tony T-Rob Roberson in the building. Today, man. Let's go, baby. Let's go. So I normally ask a specific question when we start, but today I'm gonna direct the question to Cody first. What's up with the money on the table today, bro?
So man, you know, Tony decided to come in here with a duffel bag full of money. So I was like, you know what? Put it on the table. We're gonna use it. Now, on a serious note, so we got your attention. I know it got your attention. We got your tax money sitting here. You know, we got the money you possibly made with your side business, whatever. Right. We got your money sitting right here. This is your tax money. And this is prop money, this is fake money, this is not real money. So if you plotting to rob us, we still scrap, but it's not real. So please
please know that.
Man, we decided to sit this money here because we wanted to have a conversation. We want to talk about finances and credit and just the mentality that we have when we deal with this. So we sat it here just as a prop. And again, it is fake. It's not real money. It is fake money ordered from propmoney.com, which they are regulated by the federal government.
Right.
So please understand that again. But Tony, man, let's talk, man. You deal a lot with credit, commercial banking, commercial loans, individuals and their credit and their personal finances, man. And so we know it's tax time. We know that around this time, our people, our community receive a lot of money at one time, normally that they don't receive any other time throughout the year. So what's the very first step, man? What do we need to do this year in 2020 to change the mistakes that we normally make, to change our narrative in our personal lives, in our families' lives, and in our businesses? What do we need to do? What's the very first step?
Well, one of the things we need to do is that what we don't do is we don't look at our situation. You know, the minute we get money, we plan in our mind, especially when it comes to tax money. We know roughly before we leave the table how much we're getting back. Right. We already making a plan what we're gonna do with it before we get it. Right. And what happens is most of the time we make those plans, it's not beneficial to our life, sustaining our life, or putting us forward, or moving us forward. We basically looking at and I got this, matter of fact, about 3 days ago, talking to a client about the tax money, and a lot of times we put in the wrong thing. Talking about buying a car, paying cash for a car, for $4,500, you know what I mean? And you got other things that I clearly see on your credit, I clearly see on your application that needs to be taken care of. Right. And a lot of times with this money thing that we got when we pull in a lot of cash like this, at tax time especially, we just got the wrong perspective. Right. Our community got bad habits. And one of the things we got to do is we got to suffer through taking care of bad habits. We got to look at our situation and find out what's most important to deal with at this time. I mean, yes, you got to get to work. Yes, you got to live. But most of the time, 90% of the time, we see people make the wrong move with tax money. Right. And so changing your narrative is a great perspective to look at. You got to change your mindset. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And you got to not be afraid to make the right moves. And so you got to dig into your situation. You got to look at your whole picture. The problem with us, we look at our picture in our head. Right. We don't write down our situation. We don't write down anything. We just say, okay, I got this money. I need this. I need to do that. So this is what I'm gonna do. We don't think it through. We don't pray about it. We don't look at our whole scenario. We don't look at what it's gonna cost us 3 months down the road, a year down the road. Sometimes you're getting $4,500, $5,000, $6,000 back. That's an opportunity for you to make a big step in your life. Right. But you got to choose what's most important at the time. And a lot of times we just don't make the right decisions with it.
Absolutely, man. And we can attest to that, man. I know I can personally attest to that.
What?
I remember when I got the biggest check, the initial big check, after we had the baby.
What was the biggest one you got?
I mean, I'm talking the first one. I'm talking like when we just had our baby, we just had Imani, and that check was a couple grand. Right. Jordan's in the case.
How was that feeling?
What? What? But file,
Soon as you file them taxes, boy, you see that number, like,
when I get this check,
This is what I'm gonna do with it.
boy, when I get this check, and that's what we all say.
It was
boy,
already
when I
gone.
get- what? Well, I got the matching Wizards jersey with the Jordans. Lee had them. Monty had them. We all come up out of Foot Locker with matching jerseys and Jordans.
It ain't nothing.
Ridiculous.
But let me ask
And
you this question.
I, you know what I'm saying?
Let me ask this question.
Made an
How
arrangement on the bill, so.
Made a rent. Light bill $300. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you
I got
$150.
$150 for you.
Give me about 3-4 weeks. I'm gonna settle the
I'll
rest.
sell the red.
You know. Well, how about guys? You ever been in a situation where you get a lump sum of money like that and you spend it frivolously,
Right.
and you say, you know, then you find yourself in a situation 2 or 3 months later, and you say, if I ever get my hands on $3-4 grand again, or whatever, I'll never
do it again.
This time, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna talk to you first, or I'm gonna straighten this out before I get there. And we get $5-6 grand or a lump sum of money again, and we do the same thing again. It might be a different method, it might be something else, but we do the same thing.
I've been there.
Yeah,
I've
but
been there.
I'm telling you.
I mean, I think, and now looking back at it, at what point do that change? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to think back, like, at what year with my taxes, I was like, all right, like, I'm doing something positive.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what sparked that change. I know it was gradually over a period of time I started to change who I was, how I thought, and how I managed my money, everything. But what was the one thing that we can point back to that say caused that change?
Well, I think for me, the key with me was just maturity. You know what I'm saying? And then getting sick and tired of having that money and it running through my fingers, only to be back in the same situation a couple months later. And then I'm like, you know what? You know, Lord, if you get me through this, just get me through this one here.
Bring the Lord.
You gotta bring the Lord. Lord, if you get me through this one here, I promise.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna lay out on the floor. I promise you, I'm not gonna do this
I'm not
again.
gonna do it again.
Yeah.
And then it was one of those times where I just didn't do it again. Where he just kind of gave me some wisdom to make the smaller steps.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Tony, it starts with changing your mindset. Because once you change your mindset, then your actions change, then your behaviors change.
I think though, for most people, when you start talking about because we understand you got to deal with the mindset more than anything.
Right.
For other people, they don't understand that the mindset is so important. It's more so like, what can I physically do?
Right.
But it's like, nah, you need to sit down and understand that your mind has to change, and you have to evolve in your thinking in order to manage that better.
That's right.
And I think most people like have a hard. I mean, because even me, like, I remember when I went to a conference. It was like a conference, and I'm thinking it's a lot of millionaires in the room, billionaires. Like, I'm about to listen. I'm about to figure out how I can make more money.
Right.
And they started talking about like your health, and they talking about your family and all this. I'm like, bro, like, I didn't come here for that. Like, I came here to learn how to get to the bag. Yeah.
Finance conference. Yeah, teach me
But
something.
that's how we automatically think for the most part. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, I think another thing too, man, is we gotta to spend with money now is when people going through the things that they're going through. I think we're becoming overwhelmed with our life situations, and we get into a place where we just can't think through it, and oftentimes we see it every day. Oftentimes we too embarrassed for whatever reason, or too prideful to lay everything on the table to kind of let somebody help you figure out where you are. Right. Guys, one of the best things you can do is sit down and figure out what's going on in your life when it comes to finances and get some help. I've been there. We all been there. With this finance thing, man. And let me tell y'all something. The ones that are in finance, if they tell you they ain't never been through nothing, run. Run real fast. Most of your financial advisors, matter of fact, I know some financial advisors right here in this city. And I just ran across this not too long ago. Right. Somebody else he didn't want to talk to me directly, so he talked to me through somebody else.
What was that?
Well, I believe because he's a banker.
Right.
And he's a senior vice president of a bank here locally. And I think that, in that situation, that's kind of embarrassing. I would think that's kind of embarrassing to be a senior vice president at a major bank here in the city. And you got some situation going on, but you're trying to talk to me through somebody else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, guys, you really need to be very aware of your own personal finance. You need to get a handle on it, kind of get an understanding. You need to talk to people who's been through some things and who's in it for a living. Not Mama Sue and Joe and Jack and your co-workers, because everybody's situation is totally different. But,
we do a lot of talking.
A lot of people, even in the business industry, don't have their stuff together.
Right.
And now everybody's a coach.
100%.
Everybody's a financial advisor.
100%.
Everybody's when we went to a 2 or 3 conference and now boom, I'm the man.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. and so, you know, what I like to do is I like to practice what I preach. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I'm in a bad area, I'm gonna tell you I'm in a bad area.
Right.
If I'm not a risk taker, I'm gonna tell you I'm not a risk taker. But if I'm gonna talk to you about credit, you best believe, you know, it's mine straight.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, has it been messed up before? Absolutely. I've been down the Richter scale with credit, you know, and everything else. 400, 300, back to 800,
Right.
back to 700. But when I learned the system, I learned the game, I played the game.
Right.
You know, I didn't care about credit at one point because I knew I could fix it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But what I realized too also that was a detriment to my whole overall profile. So I had to kind of fix it and maintain it.
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean? And so, you know, guys, it's just this whole money thing, man, has got our community going in so many different directions that we don't even know how to focus
Right.
on our personal situation.
Right.
We're too busy talking to everybody else, looking at everybody else's situation.
Right.
I'm looking at your situation, and I want that situation, but I'm not taking. I don't know what you did to get there. I don't know what you did to get there.
Right.
I'm not honing in on my personal situation, so I don't even have an idea of what I want for myself. All I know is I want that.
Right.
But I'm not willing to go through the things to take to get here,
Right.
so that we can provide for our families and do the things that we need to do.
Absolutely.
You know,
that's great.
I always think about this, and you know, I tell the story sometimes. I remember, like, 7, 8 years ago. You already know where I'm going. But I remember like 7, 8 years ago, man, and I hit you. I was trying to buy a house, and I think my credit decent at least.
It was okay.
Okay, I ain't had no job though. I ain't had a job. I ain't had
Get a
nothing.
job.
Paperboy. And I was like,
Water boy.
I filled out the ad. I was like, T, I'm trying to buy a house, and I was in a totally different situation than I was now.
Right,
now my
right.
thinking, I was like, I had the right thinking. I just wasn't everything didn't line up though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I should have been trying to get on the field. Like I should have been practicing.
Right.
And we sat down. I mean, you was like, I don't think you want to hurt my feelings. But what were you thinking at that moment? Like, what were you thinking, man?
This dude
Honestly.
would have lost his everlasting mind. What? No. No, you know what? No, I kind of feel bad about that, man, because I was really stunned. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, thinking back hindsight, I say, okay, I should have just kind of do like we've always done with a
Right.
lot of people that we don't get credit for. Walk
Right.
people hand in hand, all the mess we go through dealing with closing loans and putting people in houses and things of that nature. I should have took a different approach with you, but I was more stunned than anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? But his aggression was so tight.
Yeah. I was
Till I figure, you know, his aggression and the way he moved, I'm like, on paper, he's straight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? So I gotta apologize to you in front of the people on
No,
that.
we good.
I should have did.
That helped me.
I should have did what we did, what we do with people now.
Right.
But nevertheless, think about it. You said something just very profound. 7, 8 years ago, or whatever the case may be.
7, 8 years.
Think about your situation now.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right.
So the problem is, you got 8 years, 7 to 8 years. That's not a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, time goes by fast. You corrected a situation by being diligent and found out what you had a passion for, what you
Right.
really wanted to do to
100%.
provide for your family, and you made that move. We all made that move,
Absolutely.
and we're happy in what we do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so some of us just, we going to work just to earn money, got a job, but we're not happy with what we're doing
Right.
at the same time
Right.
as well.
Absolutely.
But I definitely remember that.
Yeah.
I definitely remember that.
I mean, me personally, man, I look at money. I look at this different now, man. I believe this is a byproduct in doing all the right things.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? So like by helping people, by you going out working, applying, actually working, just learning, and just I think that comes with elevation in everything else in life. I think this is the byproduct.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? And I think the more we take our focus off it and focus on actually serving other people,
Right.
Becoming stewards of our craft,
Right.
As you like to say, I believe that continues to be added.
And having a plan for your life.
Plan.
And having a plan.
You know what I mean?
Well, because once you have that plan and you have those things mapped out, and this ain't the focus, then God can give it to you because it's a tool at that
Right.
point.
That's right.
Right.
You ain't running after it no
Right.
more. You can be used to be a blessing at that point
Right.
because you're not thinking about all just me and my situation
And chase it.
and chasing after the bread.
Mhm.
Because I don't know, but when you think about all those years that we were focused on chasing the bag eluded us the entire time.
That's right.
You know, it caused us to do things and take penitentiary chances and have our families in bad situations based off of us thinking about this dollar, how I got to get it, what I got to do with it, and in our community sometimes doing whatever it takes to get it. When that mind and that shift changes, and you realize that it's just a tool, like you said, then it changes the whole dynamic of everything, man. And having a plan and understanding that I'm a servant and I'm accountable to people, and as a person in our community, I'm important. You know, what I bring to the table is important. Me being here is important. Me being around is important. Me being able to talk to my little cousins and them being able to touch me is important.
Right.
And so, you know, and then it causes you to not take these kind of chances to get the knot.
Right.
You know, and we take them all the time.
And when you get the knot, you spend it wisely.
Right.
We do things wisely. I remember, guys, when I was getting out of college and going into the car business, learning that car business and making the kind of money that I started out making, being green, not knowing anything about the car business, being taught, so I basically did what they told me.
Right.
And so as the money started coming, you know, I'm looking at these checks come, you know, my eyes begin to open.
Right.
I bit that apple, you know what I'm saying? And so I started living in Atlanta, you know, started, you know, indulging in everything.
Right.
Motorcycles, cars, you know, all that good stuff. And so I was spending as fast as I was making it. No big deal. I'll make that again next month. I'll do 20 units. I'll make that again. You know what I mean? And so I spent so many years making the money and spending just as much as I was making. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I knew what to do with it. I knew what I should have been doing, but I just didn't do it.
Right.
It's basically young, living life, having fun. You know what I mean? So oftentimes then I got myself together and I began to change my perspective. You know, so what happens is we get into a game of life where we're making money that we've never made before,
Right.
and we lose our mind. We don't know how to control ourselves. And so basically, you know, I had to learn how to basically control myself. Even though I want the car, this ain't the time.
Right.
Even though I want the bike or whatever, this ain't the time. I even had to, at some point, matter of fact, I had to, back in the early mid 2000s, the mortgage business, doing quite well, doing good, and it started tanking. And so I began to lose everything in a matter of months.
Right.
Started using my savings in a matter of months. I had to get rid of motorcycle, get rid of stuff that I had, and so and I had to swallow my pride. It didn't feel good,
Right.
but I had vowed that if I ever got back to a holistic place, that I would, you know, basically control myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what I begin to do. You know, I buy when necessary. I got my change buckets. I got all kind of stuff going on at the house. So I basically look at, you know, how I'm spending, make sure my bills are paid, but make sure I'm putting something back as well.
Right.
The problem with us, as far as this is concerned, is we don't know how to save. We don't want to save unless we can save 1,000 at a time.
Right.
The $10 add up, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it ain't but $5 a month, $10 a month, or whatever the case may be, you got to start somewhere. And before you know it, those little accounts and those little $25 begin to add up.
Correct.
You know. So the problem with us is that we can't save what we want. We don't save it all. You know. And then if we can't get the money we want in terms of cash flow, we just basically take what we get, spend it on whatever, pay our bills sometime. And then we just kind of never get out of this rut that we in because we really don't truly understand the value of it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I mean, even when you talk about the saving part, because I remember when I used to feel like that, like, you know, just saving $10 a week or $10, you know, putting a little bit here and there, it's a waste because it's like, man, I'm never going to reach it. And then when you do kind of get a little bit, you go just spend it. You're like, man, it ain't a lot. Let me just go spend this.
Right.
So it's like you said, it's tough, man. It's the mindset, the mentality, and the understanding and the exposure to say, and the discipline. I mean, it's a lot of things combined that can help you do little things like that in order to get to the next level.
Right.
Because most times, again, it's the mindset. How do you change certain mindsets? Like, how does that person understand that saving $10 a week or a month can add up?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you help that person? How do you help them understand that? The question.
Ooh,
I mean,
bruh.
Yeah, well.
It takes a hard reset because it took a hard reset for me.
Yeah.
I had to be in the bottom of the gutter in order to focus myself on, you know what, no matter what, I don't care how bad it get, Once it go there, I don't have it anymore. It's done. You know what I mean? And that takes a real level of compression in your mind to say, you know what? Once I put this $25 in the savings account, I'm not touching it. It's gone. And that's hard for a lot to do because oftentimes we get tested throughout this process.
Right.
You get a $5 in the bank, and all of a sudden something go wrong in your life, and you just itching to go touch it. Right. I began to do a little. Basically you have to play games with yourself sometimes. Right. I began to put money in places that's far away from me that I got to go through so much to get it out. You know what I mean? Right. So much so that I don't. You know what? I ain't going through all that. I'm just gonna leave it where it is. Right. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes you got to allow yourself to go through situations, even though you got the money to take care of the situation. Look at the situation and see, how detrimental it is. Right. Do I need to pull it from my savings in order to handle this situation? Mm-hmm. Right. If I do it, how bad? Is it going to fix it immediately? I'm going to have the same problem next month? Right. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or what? So we just got to start looking at the money thing and our whole personal situation a little bit deeper. Mm-hmm. How does it affect me now? How does it affect me later? Yeah. And especially when you start saving. Right. And pulling from 401ks and things of that nature. You pulling from 401k just to buy junk. Right. You ain't buying real estate. And
that's what you get.
What I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You ain't buying real estate. You pulling from 401k to buy a boat or buy other stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you can't do that, but I'm just saying it's perspective that you're putting money away for something, but what is it being put away for? Right. And then if you pull it out, why are you pulling it out? Right. Is it worth pulling it out? Right. You know what I mean? Right. It's not like it's worth pulling out to buy a car. Right. I don't know. Everybody's situation is different, but
that's good what you said. So a practice I applied personally. So what I started doing was I know I had to have my zero became another number. So you know what I'm saying? Like for instance, if I had to have $2,000 in the bank, then if I had $2,000, that was zero for me. So it's correct. Anytime I hit 2,000, it's just zero. So it's you know what I'm saying? In reality, I had 2,000, but it's considered zero. Right. And so that's how I trained myself to think. So I always set a number and said, all right, I got to have this amount in the bank. And if I don't have this, then I'm at zero. Right. Or I'm negative. And so that way I always stayed at that place. So that's why I started applying for my personal life. Yeah. Just trying to make sure that I had a floating zero that was another number besides zero.
Right. Now, was that floating zero, was it a struggle to maintain it?
Yeah. Now, as times, you know what I'm saying, anything is like a muscle. So it's as I continue to train myself, it got easier and easier. So now it's easier, I know I got to have this amount. And if I don't feel good. I can't be at peace. Right. Because I'm just man, what is something happen? All these thoughts in my mind. So now I'm just comfortable at this level. So it's like playing basketball. You play on the 3-foot goal. Then you move it up and you move it up, and you get comfortable at certain levels. Right. And so I got comfortable at this level. Right.
I know one of the things that with me, I'm impulsive. You know what I mean? When it comes to whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I wish I was your child. I mean, Daddy, can I get it too? Daddy, can I have you?
I'm about to take the money right now.
I be impulsive sometimes when it comes to certain things, man. So what I had to do when it came to things, I would just slow down. I would try to say, if I'll wait 24 hours. So if it was something that I had to do, I felt in that moment that I got to do. I gotta have it. Got to have these sneakers. I got to have this car. I gotta have
sneakers with you.
24 hours. I wait. When I wake up tomorrow, if I feel like I gotta have it, then I might get it. But typically, what happened is over time, because of everything else, it would the impulse and the thought process of it just began to change. So that was just my process. Everybody has a different process. Yeah. With me, my process was impulse buying. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Or having bread and it's you say, we can get it back. Yeah. So let me just go and get to it today. Yeah. Whatever it was, but just starting to realize I need to slow down and then put some barriers in place. And then once that barrier was there, it just started to slowly change how I will react to every situation, just because of small disciplines in that lane. And so honestly, man, I think that with some of the disciplines that like what you talk about as far as moving money around and making it difficult to get to, and some of the things with your zero, I believe that y'all can talk about this. When you put certain disciplines in certain areas, that thing starts to spread across the other areas of your life. So even if it's a discipline in, let's say, health or waking up and how you eat, some of those things start to spill over and become other disciplines in other areas of your life. So you may not have the money to try to save right now, but guess what? I'm gonna get up in the morning, I'm gonna read my word, I'm gonna work out a little bit, I'm gonna train my body and my mind, so I'm already spiritually and physically fit. So when the money comes, I'm already attuned to that level of discipline. So it makes it a little bit easier in my mind. What y'all think about that?
I don't know about that. I'm just thinking about most people overall. I mean, at least the people that I know. And I don't know nobody who working out broke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying is, I think at certain places in life, you start thinking. So, for instance, I think when you start like health, I think most people worry about health are not the lower. The person who's making minimum wage or salary. Not saying they can't, but think about it. Like I just started thinking about my health because I understand now I gotta live longer. I gotta, I'm around people who they talk that language, but the average person who's trying to survive in life, you're in survival mode. You're not focused on like all the other things that's considered a part of the wealth building.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like when I was in survival mode, you know what I'm saying? We just trying to figure out how to make it. Like
True,
it's like
true.
we grind like I'm working 10 jobs. Like I ain't thinking about eating healthy. We ain't talking about cooking, going to Publix to cook. Like
I'm hungry, I'm eating.
We're going to Piggly Wiggly. You know what I'm saying? We're going to all the grocery stores that don't sell that's not necessarily the healthiest.
Right.
But now we're at a place where we can think about that. Like we understand spending a little bit more to go to Fresh Market or go to Publix versus shopping at Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think most people. It's hard to think like that when you are at certain places in life. At least that's what I think.
I mean, I could agree with that a little bit. I mean, I like how you shot my idea down at the sky, boy.
Yeah,
Take that thing at the sky, boy.
Yeah.
For real.
It's cool. It happens in life, though.
It does. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna dive that deep into that. Tony. So, so man, talk about definitely you've done a lot of seminars and things like that around credit. We've done some things together as well. So just now that we're talking about the money and the tax money that's coming, what are some of the things that from a credit perspective, what's the first thing that people need to do? I know we talked about understanding certain things, but what is that first step for somebody that's looking right now and saying, okay man, I love what they're doing, I love what they're talking about, but how do I get started? What do I do today?
Well, I think when it comes in terms of credit, I think one of the first things we need to do, you need to definitely get a tri-merge credit report pull, or all three credit bureaus in your hand. And the reason why you want to do that is because you want to get a perspective of what's out there on you. Okay? And one of the things that we do that you got to do with that is you got to look at it. And if you don't understand what you're looking at, you need to get somebody to help you understand what you're looking at.
Right.
Okay.
100%.
Who do you get to help? Look.
A professional.
Okay.
Just now.
That's what I'm saying, because
You get a
you already
professional.
know.
You get a professional to help you.
Right.
Please, guys, stop letting Credit Karma teach you how to fix your credit and all this kind of stuff.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. I check Credit Karma every day.
Well, I mean,
I check it every day.
Listen,
I know it's not accurate.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with checking. There's nothing wrong with checking
I check
Credit
it
Karma.
every day.
Nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's got some good algorithms. You know, the numbers are pretty decent. But basically, Credit Karma is a marketing tool.
Right.
You know what I mean? They market to you. Once they get them cookies on you, they marketing to you. They basically tracking what you're doing. I'm not saying don't look at Credit Karma. I'm just saying that you got Credit Karma doesn't have a lot of times everything that's out there on you. You got to, basically what I like to tell clients is that you get the tri-merge credit report, all three bureaus. You want to check the check systems, LexisNexis. You want to check everything that's out there on you, especially if you're a business owner or a potential business owner.
Right.
You want to check everything that's out there on you and get professional help, guys.
Right.
Stop, relaying your case on what your sister did or what happened with your cousin or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Look at your situation to understand really what it is. Now, if it's negative stuff, there's ways to deal with that, and you got to begin to deal with the negative stuff. There's so many different credit repair programs out here. So many different people doing a lot of different things. Some I agree with, some I don't agree with. Some are very, very unethical. You know what I mean? So you got to be very careful with that. But one of the first things you got to do is look at your credit. You got to get someone to help you get a full understanding of what's there. Now you got to also learn how. I hate to use this word. Learn how to manipulate credit. I get so many different things about, I've been paying my bills on time, I've been doing this on time, and my score doesn't necessarily move. It's so many factors that play into your credit scores, guys.
Right.
And also you got to understand that credit scores are not everything with every lender. You know what I mean? You can have an 800 credit score and get turned down from somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of factors. What you need to be more concerned about, if you're taking a look at your credit, you're trying to get started in fixing or making some moves with your credit, the first thing you should be understanding is the data that's on your credit report. Not just the credit scores, the data. Because the information on the credit report is what we call data. That's what tells the tale about you. That's what different lenders across the country or people are looking at to kind of figure out what they want to do with your situation. You know what I mean? What they want to help you with, what they might not want to help you with.
Right.
Okay? So you got to understand what the data is on your credit. And so payment history is a major thing. How you pay your bills, you know what I mean? But it's not everything.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
You know, because there's 592 points to work with when you're dealing with your credit. You know, you got a credit score range of 300 to 850. So basically, you got about 592 points to work with. But you got to know how to manipulate those points. You know what I mean? Won't get into that tonight, but it's a serious game that you got to know how to play. You can pay your bills on time every month, and the credit score don't do nothing but stick to where it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you understand how to manipulate the types of accounts you have, the mixture of credit you need to have,
That's good.
you can know how to manipulate your credit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
really
I manipulate my credit when I go to buy something like, for instance, I bought my wife a car not too long ago, and I knew that I wanted to be in a no doc situation with the car. So basically, I basically shifted some things around with my credit in order to put myself in a situation where I can go into the dealership and buy the car with no docs. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just look at the credit. They pull my credit and say, "Oh yeah, you can take the car home."
Right.
You know what I mean? So depending on what you're trying to do, you got to also understand there's hidden language
Absolutely.
in applications, guys. Y'all lying on your credit applications.
Right.
You ain't putting all the information, and
Right.
some of y'all getting turned down because you don't put the right information.
Right.
Some of you putting the wrong kind of information on your credit report, or you trying to fudge on things. And what happens is stuff just don't add up.
Right,
By your
right.
age, your state credit is looked at. If you got a bunch of boys that's age 20 to 30 versus 30 to 40, it's so many different things that play in the fact of your credit when you fill out an application. So you got to really fill them out to the fullest. Stop using half truths. You know what I mean? Because it can affect you. You know what I mean? And once you fill out an application, you put in half truths. That stuff can be applied to your credit report. Now you got stuff reporting on you that's really not accurate. You know, inaccurate workplaces, old addresses, all kind of stuff you got going on because everybody's trying to manipulate the system to figure out what they can do to get something done. Or I listen to somebody and say, "Hey, well, put this on your application. Don't put that on your application."
Right.
And you kind of get yourself messed up. But you got to look at the credit.
Why is credit a game?
Well,
Why is it a system?
why is it a system?
Yeah, why is it a game? Why?
Oh man, I hate the game too. I hate the system. You know what I mean?
Why is it though? Like,
Well, you know, they started some years ago, and I ain't gonna get into all the dates and Fair Isaac and all that kind of stuff. But you know, basically, you know, credit was supposed to be a tool to use in order to gauge the person in terms of that. You know, whether to say to me as a lender or whoever else that's based upon this situation, this category, based on what's on the application, he's likely or a lot likely to pay you, vice versa, that kind of thing. Now, some of it is accurate, some of it does a lot of people injustice, but it's just a tool that they use. It's over, 300 plus, and really more than that, credit bureaus across this country. Everybody uses a different system. Everybody don't just use Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Some people use one bureau, some people use local bureaus. It just depends on the situation. And so, what I tell people is that in this situation, what you want to do is make sure that your situation is holistic. Make sure your stuff is together. And if it's not together, we all been there. Try to work on fixing it as you go. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing to really be embarrassed about. You know what I mean? So fix it as you go, because you never know, depending on what's going on in your life, what you got to apply for. You never know what they're going to be looking for. You know what I mean? So you want to be kind of clean across the board. That way, if you go to company A may not be looking what company B is looking for.
Right.
So you got to kind of, get a good mixture. You got to have certain things applied to your credit. Some folks say, I don't deal with credit cards. I don't want no credit cards. But the truth be told, you gotta have them.
Right.
Installment loans don't affect your credit as much as revolving accounts do sometimes, and so you gotta know how to, use that.
Right.
Yeah, and that's where that was good when you said the healthy mix, because it is that mix of installment, versus revolving, and some of the things that can help you, boost your credit. Sometimes establishing those things.
That's right.
But and of course with what we see, falsifying information, documents,
my
man.
God. People,
we don't see what time it is. Like,
Yeah.
just stop.
withhold information. People lie to us all the time, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
They withhold information. They give us half truths on their application,
Right.
and they don't realize that
These not church going folks, though. I know.
Well, I'm not going to say that they're not.
These ain't people of God. I know that. I know that. So go ahead.
Yeah, we're not gonna answer that one. No,
They ain't say that's why.
Yeah.
Y'all dealing with the heathens.
But we get all kinds of stuff on applications, man. People trying to hide stuff from us. You know what I mean? And what they don't realize that because we've been in this industry a long time, or with applications, is hidden language. So if you're telling me this, that, and the other, and then the first three things we ask you is got to line up with the things on the back end. I'm just giving you a hypothetical example.
Right.
And so we might not say it initially. We'd be like when we're taking a mortgage application. Sometimes we're like, okay, no, this ain't adding up. So we begin to ask more questions, even with just commercial credit or even commercial lending. All that stuff applies. You know what I mean? And you have people trying to withhold information, or they don't want to tell us because they think we need to use it.
You know what I think that is though? I think that's because most times when people deal with bankers or people in the financial world, for the most part, is generally we're going to them asking for a product or a service,
Right.
and is either you meet the criteria, you check the box,
Right.
and you get it, or you don't. And so it's like, I think most people don't understand that, like, you two are more so you're here to help versus just say, hey, do you check this box, and if you don't, get out my face. So I think people got to understand and see more so that it's like, hey, he's here to help me paint the picture in order to help me get to where I'm going.
You gotta give us the good, the bad, the ugly.
Right.
Hey, you gotta tell us. I mean, we get people, we get husbands, wives trying to withhold information from one another. I've had conversations where a guy, husband called back and say, hey man, listen, I didn't say nothing on the phone when I was on the phone with my wife, but I don't need her to know this, that, and the other. But the holistic thing is about it all that we need to know everything.
Right.
Now we'll determine what we want to let the lender know.
Right.
And that's what a lot of times people mess up in buying homes, in cars, and things of that nature. That you don't trust me. The guy that's sitting before you, he wants to close the deal. The car seller wants to close the deal.
Right.
The real estate agent wants to close the deal.
Right.
The loan officer wants to close the deal. He doesn't get paid unless he closes the deal. So at the end of the day, he wants all the information so he can determine which bank or what the bank needs to know. You know what I mean? And if I got an underwriter from Timbuktu, if depending upon your situation, we definitely ain't talking to her. You know what I mean? So you got to give us all the information. We'll determine what's a good fit.
Right.
We'll write your story for you. You know what I mean? And the problem is a lot of times clients try to write stories for us. About the whole picture, and most of the time they don't even understand the whole picture. We got people that don't even know how much money they make.
Right.
You ask, well, what what's the income? What's this, that, and that? They don't even know. You know what I mean? They credit some folks. They declare that I got, hey, I'm 700 across the board. Then we go to pull credit, it ain't nowhere near it. You know what I mean? Because of false ideology in terms of what they think, or they're using systems that are telling them things that they want to hear or see, and it's not adding up.
Right.
Right.
And even with that being said, I don't know how much time we got left, but so let's kind of talk about a different role in this equation. Let's talk about real estate agents. I mean, we're not talking about a direct consumer or the individual applying for the loan, but real estate agents. I just thought about a conversation we had a while back, and we talked about how even your role when it comes to partnering or working with the real estate agents and helping them understand how to get clients to the closing table. I understand a lot of agents don't necessarily understand how to partner with you in general in order to help the individual.
Right.
And so it happens all the time. I think because the same people who don't understand that are the same people who get licensed and they become agents, and they carry that same thing into that same mentality into their business.
Right.
It's the same people. They just have a real estate license.
Right.
And so
same way of thinking.
Right, and makes it tougher to close deals. And
That's right.
I talk to agents all the time who don't necessarily understand how it works and how to come together and help paint the picture, because everybody at the end of the day painting the picture on the same canvas.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So
they definitely need to know, and they definitely need to talk to the banker in depth, because a lot of times, even the agents are missing out on deals because they're thinking structure of one way, rather than talking with somebody like ourselves to understand the complete structure.
Right.
You got clients in all types of different situations.
Right.
You can create a deal or structure a deal to help a client in so many different ways that in the beginning you didn't see a picture. Hey, this is gonna be tough.
Right.
But if you talk it all out, and if the agent gets on board like you do with us, you can clearly help a client get to the next level. You know what I mean? Even with lending and things of that nature, because there's so many different ways we can help a client, but everybody got to play a part. And one of the things that I think that we got to do in this industry is we got to collaborate more, but in collaboration, get an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Education.
And stop telling me I used to be a loan officer, 10 years ago, and I know what it's like, this, that, and other. If you ain't did it yesterday, you don't know, because it changes every day. Every day.
Yeah.
We can get up in the morning, a bank has shut down from yesterday.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Guidelines.
And so, what you got to understand is that I don't think that even agents sometimes are using the closing cost factor in the best way to help clients either.
Mm-hmm.
Because we always going in for the low ball deal, but clients can use so much in the transaction to get deals done, to structure deals, but you got to put it all on the table, all the what if scenarios on the table.
I think this right here should probably lead to a change in narrative, some type of spin off an event where people can come and be educated as far as all of this, what we're talking about, where they can actually apply it. You know what I'm saying? Agents and consumers looking to get into real estate or just better their financial situation.
Right.
So I think we can kind of do a spin off and use this to catapult into some type of an event that would help the community.
Hey, I would agree, man.
I agree.
And just like you said, to piggyback off the point, like also having agents and other people there so they understand, how we're dealing with the banker versus a broker type situation and what you do and how you can do it and how you can get creative, like you said, man, and try to do some things.
That's right.
I wanted you to touch on the church plan development piece. I know that's a lot of your background is in helping churches understand on how to take their congregations to the next level. I know you've done a lot, particularly with being the business manager at our church and different things like that. So can you talk a little bit about how we're going from the regular credit piece and regular all of this from the consumer side, and how do those same things or disciplines apply to a church planning development site construction side of the deal? The same habits, like how can it help or how can it hurt?
Well, one of the things the church has to do, and we've seen this so many times, be honest with you, in our community, and we gotta say what it is. In the black community, our churches are looked at totally different.
Mm-hmm.
At the banks.
Right.
And I've seen it many times. But nevertheless, with church plan development, you got a lot of churches, across the city, across the country. Many are meeting in hotels, storefronts, and things of that nature. Many, are trying to do the work of the Lord and trying to get somewhere. But the problem is that they won't stop to create a plan and direction of where they're trying to go. And so they, some still churches operating 3 and 5, 10 years don't have perfect financial records. What I mean by that, they're not even recording things. They're just still using general ledgers and things of that nature. They're not letting the accountant do their books. So if I would submit to any church or even a commercial person, if you're trying to develop your church, you definitely need to, from day one, you need to be you need to classify your income a certain way. Tithes and offerings. If you got a building fund. Things like that. You got to be very careful about listing building funds on your P&Ls. With churches, we call it source and use. Because if it's a building fund, if I'm a banker, I'm underwriting your file, and I see tithes and offerings, and I see building fund. To me, the building fund, once the building is built, the building fund goes away, so you no longer have that income. Right. So it's all about knowing how to structure your finances with a church and getting from a phase. Typically with churches, you want to have at least 2 to 3 years of strong financials. And the key number for banks is giving units. I don't know why. I do know why, but it can become a hindrance, for a lot of churches that don't have 100 giving units or better.
Right.
And then
so the giving units is the individual.
The individual,
the bodies.
Well,
bodies.
Every bank does it different.
Okay.
Some banks use one person if they're given to the if they gave one time a year, they count as a giving unit. You got some banks, like one of the banks we deal with right now, they count a family as one giving unit. And that can make or break a deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
So basically, it has to be somebody on the other end of the table that knows the bank, knows how to structure it in a way to get certain things done. Especially if you got an aggressive church like ours. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you got a pastor like ours say, we want to do something that probably can't be done, but we got to figure it out anyway. But nevertheless, so with the church structure, you got to build that from a standpoint of financials. You got to fit the church questionnaire has to be structured in a way where we can understand what's going on with the number of, they look at age brackets as well. Number of people in the church between certain ages and things of that nature. All that's percentages, and that has to be done a certain way. It's too much to get into, but it's a very, very important piece for churches that we probably need to teach as well and share.
What we can do is
what I was thinking.
That's another change in narrative event, so we can do it for churches.
Yeah.
Right.
people who are pastoring and want to build a church, or they see themselves whatever in ministry, we can put together a summit or event for when they come out and learn how to structure.
Keep from wasting money.
Right. Keep
Right.
and we serve the people of God in charge.
That's it.
One
That's
example, church, we know locally, spent over $90,000 for plans. They got the land, they spent $90,000 on plans to build a church, but they didn't go the proper steps about finding out what they qualify for.
Right.
So the church that they were trying to build was an $8.5 million building on paper.
Right.
They had the architect, they paid them $90,000 to draw all this up and do all of this.
Right.
Only discovered they only qualified for $1.5 million.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So what we want to do is we do what we call church plan development. We help churches. We basically want to build you from where you are,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and find out what your plans are. And so if you're trying to build this, what is it going to take to get there?
Right.
And this is what you qualify for. So it's just very important that a pastor of a church and a church that's trying to get somewhere with building the edifice, because everybody wants to build,
Right.
building a gym, whatever the case may be. It's important that you get with somebody who can dissect the financials, tell you where your loopholes are. Somebody can do what we call a 5-tier underwrite. Okay, and I get that from Mr. Mike Rogers,
Yes, sir.
who trained me in commercial lending and taught me how to do church loans. You gotta see the bigger picture and know which banks to talk to, which ones not to talk to, and also to be deliberate enough to tell the church, hey, you're not in a position where you can do anything at this point.
Right.
Or you may need to buy. I know you got a big vision, but this might need to be $150,000 building right now.
Right.
You know.
And that's not to say that you're not gonna get to that.
Right.
particular point, but
Right.
You gotta take some steps to get there.
Yeah. No, that's dope. That's dope. So I think we're kind of close to the end, man. So definitely, man, we appreciate all the nuggets you dropped. Again, this is not real money.
I'll
This
let y'all know.
money
I'll
is
let y'all know
fake.
on the
This
next
is fake
episode.
money.
Well, that
But
feels
Tony
good. That
does.
feels so good.
Tony does have a bunch of money that look just like
like
this. That's
this.
real.
Right.
Um,
He was flashing it when we were calling like that. But as we get ready to phase out, man, like we close out every show, we just ask you to give 3 points to the people that are looking on how you change the narrative, personally, in your family, and in the community.
Personally, I changed my narrative by really examining myself. You know, the heartaches that I had, things that I was dealing with, going through from a financial standpoint, it was all on me.
right.
Because it's really all about my habits. So basically, I just stopped doing what I was doing, you know. And I thought about, my future, you know what I mean? Because it's
Right.
key. Didn't know how long I was going to live.
Right.
Asked God to let me live a long time. But at the end of the day, I knew I had a family and I had to change my habits.
Right.
And I said, focus on what's most important. That was them. In the community, changing the narrative every single day.
Yes,
Right,
sir.
right.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
I spend my own personal finances helping people sometimes, which is a bad move. You know,
I need some help too.
I can't help you. But spend countless hours, early mornings, late nights, helping, even people from my church and different places of that nature get to the next level. I've been to court many times trying to help people save homes and do different things of that nature. And all we ask is just tell us the truth. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So we can figure the way out. But, we give countless hours in helping people figure out their situation. And a lot of times we give information that we really should be charging for.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
we verbally give it to you anyway because we want to help you, want to see you win, we want to see you be successful, we want to see you have peace in
Right.
your home. And so we give you the information. And oftentimes it's deserving of something.
Right.
But we don't ask you for it.
Right.
And so that's the community and personal. What was the other one?
That was it.
Yeah.
Community, personal,
Yeah.
and
In the business.
Business.
In business, man. Yeah. When you
Business.
finish that, you don't let them off the hook, Tony.
Ooh, my
Don't let them off the hook right here.
Hey guys, business wise, like
Don't let 'em
people
off the
who get
hook.
in business or in business, whatever the case may be.
in your business.
Your business.
Hey, listen, guys. I love what I do. Been doing it for quite a long time. I graduated from high school, and I went into. I got into mortgages then. Didn't take it really serious because my family was involved in it and real estate. Got a real estate license. And at the time, I thought it was real boring. No offense, but that's just what it did. It didn't give me the drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I went through college, working in the bank. I worked in the bank. I started working in the bank at age 15. Check processing, and then I went to loan administration, throughout, and I learned a lot about loans. I was taught that, but in business, what we do is we try to help the commercial business owner get the things that they need to solidify their business. We try to help the person who's trying to get their financial picture together. We try to help them in any way we can, as long as they listen. You know what I mean? If we see that you're not, committed to what we're trying to tell you and do, then you're wasting time. And so oftentimes you're gonna pay us for nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So with in credit, we're very selective on who we take for clients for credit. Everybody don't qualify, and we're very selective about that because credit, working with somebody on their credit can get you in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of compliance issues, and a lot of times people don't do what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna work with us when it comes to credit, buying a home, just listen to what we tell you. We know what we're talking about. We're trying to help you. We see things that you don't see. And, all we're trying to do is just kind of get a creative picture. We're going to ask a lot of questions, but we're trying to create a situation that we can help you get to church, get to business, get the capital you need to run your business, help you build corporate credit, whatever we need to do, and help you get your personal finances together. We're only talking from experience, and we're only talking from, taking our lives, not filthy rich by any means. But, I have a steady pace and I got peace at home. My bills are getting paid and I'm just trying to work through it, okay? But we can help you.
That's good, man. That's good. And so I know as we get ready to go out, I know you're somewhat of a ghost, but you're going to have to tell the people how they can find you, how they can follow you on Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
Oh my God, guys. Hey, I'm trying to get to this Instagram thing and this Facebook thing. I'm struggling with all of that. I'm old school, you know what I mean? My phone rings, so I've been, hey, you know what I mean? I've been doing it the old school way. I'm going to do this Instagram thing, but it's Tony Roberson 1, or you can follow us at Score Drivers. If you go look at that, you ain't going to see not one post from me. But I'm getting there. My partners tell me I need to do it. We will do it. But if you want to contact me for any means of finances, you can call me at 803-354-8227. Again, that number is 803-354-8227.
That's right, man. And y'all keep a lookout for 2 seminars that are coming from Changing the Narrative to help people with their personal credit, to help realtors understand that whole process, and also how to talk to churches and people that are in the community on how they can take their churches to the next level and help their congregations thrive. So for Changing the Narrative, I'm your boy Todd Simon, and that is.
This is your cousin Cody Presley.
Once again, we want to thank Tony Roberson, T-Rob, for being in the building.
Let's go.
And we out. Changing the Narrative. Let's go.
No nectar, came in the game and took notes. Hopped on the wave and kept it afloat. Running my lane. Smile for the pick when I'm winning. Hussein. Build something up, then I flipped it.